Autopsort 2024, day 3. It is packed here at the NEC, but good to catch up with Ash Sutton. Ash, seems a long time ago now that we all said, well done, you had a pretty good season, didn't you?
Yeah, it's, we always say the off-season, you think, okay, we've got 6 months, but it does come around quick. We think we're January, before we know it, we'll be doing livery reveals and things like that, and then rolling out for the new year. But yeah, we ended on in a fantastic way, so it was a perfect way to round off heading into Christmas.
You had a good Christmas with the family?
Yeah, phenomenal. Obviously, it was Sonny's first Christmas, and he definitely learned how to rip open some presents, so that was good. Although he was more interested in the wrapping paper than he was actually the toys, which I believe is quite normal, but no, it was good. We hosted for all our families, so I was head chef apparently, but that didn't really go down well, so that's all right.
And have you succumbed to the scale extra as a present yet?
No, we're not quite there. I'm trying to give him some golf clubs before any of that stuff, I think. But yeah, look, he's whatever he wants to do, he can do when he's older.
It's all been said about last season, obviously, but that was a phenomenal year, wasn't it?
It was rather special. I mean, you look back now, and obviously, at the time, you know you're doing a good job and performing well, but not until the season after you watch a couple of races back, or you kind of look into the history that's been made, and you go, actually, we did a sterling job as an outfit. And I'm not one to blow my own trumpet, but in this scenario, it was a very special year for me.
Yeah, and watching those back, knowing what you're like, you must have been hypercritical about the times when you dropped to 10th, or you didn't quite take the apex or something.
You're always chasing perfection, and funnily enough, I had a discussion with someone a couple of days ago that when you kind of don't qualify in the right place, you have a good race, you race forward, you know you're meant to be P2, P3, P5, whatever it is. You get to the end of that race, you've made progress, you go, that was a sterling race. We had a lot of races this year where we didn't actually have to, we did all our work on Saturday, so we didn't have much racing ultimately, and despite still putting it on pole or winning a race or doing something like that, I'm then sat there looking at how can we improve that? And like you said, you were then chasing temps. Oh, I just locked up and went a bit deep there. I kind of missed an apex here, and you're like, how far do I keep going with this? Yeah, ultimately you're just always chasing perfection, and that's what I'm going to be aiming for next year.
Somebody said to me at the end of last season that the premium sponsorship advertising space was on your rear bumper.
Especially if they had an onboard camera. So we could ask Ingram about that one, can't we?
Let's look ahead to this season. A number of things coming in. A new qualifying, which I'm still trying to get my head around. We've got the added boost for deployment through the hybrid. Tyre compounds are going to change as well. It's a reset to some degree, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And again, it's another learning curve. You think when hybrid first come in, there was that element that drivers had to adapt, understand it, where and not to use it on track. Now it's sort of clean sheet again. We go back. Obviously, we've still got some of that element involved, but the added tyre element, the qualifying format, there's so many different things now that can completely change both days. With the one that's going to be the biggest shock to us all, I think, is having to use your next hardest tyre available for race 2. That is the one that I think will win and lose your weekend ultimately. That will make and break them. So I'm looking forward to that though.
Stability within the team as well, same driver lineup, which is good. And I was saying to Dan Rowbottom and Dan Camish yesterday, there seems to be a real family feel, but it's all the bits of the jigsaw puzzle at NAPA Alliance Racing are in place. Yeah,
you look back at the start of last year when we announced obviously Dan joining us and Sam coming over from shall we say the other side of the team, and creating that format of 4 cars, even going into testing. Yes, we were a 4-car team before, but we kind of just almost glued together a bit better. And like you said, the jigsaw pieces fitted better. There was a bit more of a plan going into winter testing. The progress and development made was phenomenal. We've got that continuity again now going into this year. So we've got a few days lined up for testing at the start of the year. So we've got a bit going on with the car. We're planning to make the same progress again.
Absolutely. Every champion goes into the new season feeling like, it feels like you're the man to beat.
Feeling like you've got a target on your back.
Yeah. And is that how it really is? I mean, does that enter your thinking or not?
It does. I think this is quite an important year in a weird way. You sit there, you've got Tom that wants to prove that he's not just a one-shot wonder, he wants that title back. You've got Jake chasing the first title he wants, and you've got me and Colin racing out for the 5th. So I sit there and look at it and go, actually, it's quite an exciting year in that respect. And don't get me wrong, there's loads of other drivers on the grid that want that championship. But looking at the 4 that I sort of pinpointed last year, rolling them on into this year, that's how I'm kind of eyeing the season up.
Absolutely. Autosport is always the feeling of it's the start of the motorsport season and the start of the gossip and the rumour mongering. I mean, the rumours that are flying around about who's going to be on the grid are quite something. We don't know whether we're going to have a full grid or not this year. If it's fewer cars on the grid, is that going to make a difference?
I mean, obviously we want to see a grid fully rammed out. What happens with that, we're unsure at the minute. Obviously the loss of a few cars isn't ideal. It makes it a little bit easier though if you do have a bad qualifying or an issue in one of the races to progress forward. If you're, say, racing 24 cars instead of 28, it's 4 cars you don't have to worry about. So there's pros and cons, but from a fan perspective, we want to see a full grid. We want as many cars out on track. But I'm sure whatever happens, it'll still be a fantastic show.
I guess you'll get back behind the wheel for some testing late March, early April perhaps. Are we expecting many changes for the Focus? Yeah,
we've got a few things going on. We didn't actually, believe it or not, we didn't actually quite get everything we wanted for this year, or I say this year, last year. So there was still, I wouldn't say a little bit left on the table. We just know there was some areas that we didn't fully cover. So we've honed in on them areas, and we're obviously now going to focus on them and put that into practice heading into this year.
Absolutely. Really good to catch up with you, Ash. I know it's going to be a fantastic season. Enjoy the rest of this show.
Lovely. Cheers, Steve. Thank you.